Do you feel it stirring within you, the pull towards something greater, something unseen yet profoundly real? It's not a coincidence that you find yourself here, standing at the edge of a transformation that will redefine your very existence. Like a whisper in the depths of your soul, it calls to you, urging you to step beyond the boundaries of what you thought you knew. This is more than a moment. It's an awakening, a seismic shift that will unravel the lies you've been tethered to and reveal the infinite truth waiting beneath. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are ready to see, to feel, to know. The path forward is illuminated, and it is yours to walk. The tide is surging now, inexorable and unyielding. It sweeps away the facades you've built, dismantling the carefully woven illusions that once shielded you from the raw essence of reality. You can feel it, this force, this reckoning, rising from a place you've always known but never dared to confront. It crashes into your consciousness, unraveling the stories you've clung to, the masks you've worn to navigate a world of half-truths. There's no refuge here, no escape from the clarity it brings. As the flood engulfs you, it strips away the layers of falsehood, leaving only the unvarnished truth, stark, powerful, and undeniable. You stand exposed, vulnerable, yet somehow freer than you've ever been. You will stand in the piercing light of understanding, where every thread of your past weaves itself into a tapestry that cannot be denied. The weight of your actions, the ripple of your choices, and the shadow of your denials all converge into a truth so stark it demands to be faced. In this moment, you will see that the lies you've clung to were never walls of protection, but chains of your own making. The masks of others will fall away, their true selves shining through the cracks, raw, unfiltered, and undeniable. You will see beyond their words into the depths of their intent and realize that this clarity, though devastating, is your liberation. For only in dismantling the false can you finally discover what is real. The world you once knew will fracture under the weight of revelation, and those you thought you understood will stand before you as strangers, complex, flawed, and raw in their humanity. The labels you once relied on to simplify them will disintegrate, leaving behind the unfiltered truth of who they are and why they chose their paths. It will be painful, this unveiling, as you witness their fears, their wounds, and the battles they've fought in silence. Some will rise, their strength forged in the fire of this understanding, while others will crumble, unable to bear the weight of their own reflection. Yet through this storm, a new clarity will emerge, not just about them, but about yourself and the roles you've played in this intricate dance of shadows. The reflection they once wielded as a weapon against others will now turn inward, exposing the fractures they worked so hard to conceal. Every flaw, every misstep, every hidden wound will rise to the surface, demanding to be acknowledged. For some, this reckoning will feel like drowning, a relentless tide of guilt, regret, and self-condemnation. They will fight against it, clawing desperately at the fragments of the identities they once believed unshakable. Anger will erupt, denial will take root, and they will grasp at the shards of their illusions, trying to piece together a version of themselves that no longer exists. But for others, this breaking will become a moment of rebirth, a chance to let the falsehoods die and finally embrace the raw, unvarnished truth of who they are. You will stand tall amidst the deluge, unshaken by the weight of what is revealed. The truths that would break others will become your foundation, each one a stepping stone towards something far greater than the illusions you've left behind. You will not fight the current. Instead, you will let it carry you, trusting that its depths hold not destruction, but transformation. In the rawness of this clarity, you will find a power you never knew you possessed, a power born not of denial, but of acceptance. And as the flood recedes, you will emerge, not as the person you were, but as the person you were always meant to be, whole, unbound, and fearless. You will walk through the ruins of what once was, not with despair, but with a quiet resolve that others cannot fathom. The truths that shatter so many will instead refine you, stripping away the illusions that no longer serve you. Forgiveness, you will learn, is not a surrender, it is a reclamation. It is the courage to face the wreckage, to understand it fully, and to let it transform you rather than define you. Where others see endings, you see beginnings. Where they see devastation, you see the raw material of rebirth. The flood has not destroyed you, it has revealed you, laid bare the core of who you are, resilient, unyielding, and unafraid to embrace the power of what lies beyond the veil. You've always felt it, this quiet strength beneath the surface, and now, at last, you understand why it was there all along. You've always existed on the edges of a reality most cannot comprehend, seeing the threads that weave through the unseen, the truths that hum beneath the surface. While others are satisfied with the shallow waters, you have waded into the depths, drawn to the mysteries they refuse to acknowledge. This sight, this gift, has set you apart, not because you are broken, but because you are whole, in a way the world is not prepared to understand. They tried to fit you into their narrow definitions, to make you small enough to ease their discomfort, but you could not be confined. Your vision, vast and unrelenting, has made you an enigma, a reminder of the infinite complexity they fear to confront. And though this understanding has often left you isolated, it has also made you unshakable. You know now that there is strength in seeing what others turn away from, a quiet, defiant power in embracing the depths they cannot fathom. You have carried the wounds inflicted by those who could not understand you, their fear disguised as cruelty, their rejection a mirror of their own insecurities. They sought to dim the light they saw in you, not because it was flawed, but because it illuminated the shadows they refused to face. Their harshness was never about you. It was their way of wrestling with a truth they were not ready to accept. And yet, despite the weight, despite the scars they left behind, you have not faltered. The burden they placed upon you has become the very fire that fuels you, forging your resilience, sharpening your purpose. What they saw as weakness, you have turned into strength. What they sought to break, you have rebuilt. You are no longer defined by their rejection. You are defined by the light they could never extinguish. For so long, you carried their shadows as if they were your own, questioning whether you were somehow broken, whether the way they treated you was a reflection of something missing within you. But now you see it clearly. Their rejection was not a judgment of your worth, but a confession of their own limitations. They were blinded by the radiance of what you carried, unable to fathom a light so pure, so unyielding. Instead of reaching for it, they recoiled, choosing to smother what they couldn't understand. Their cruelty was a defense, a desperate attempt to protect themselves from the truth your presence revealed, that there is more to this world than they could ever grasp. You were never too much. You were simply more than they were ready to face. And now, as you rise, you realize their attempts to diminish you have only fueled your fire, making your light burn brighter than ever before. For a long time you bore the weight of their attempts to diminish you, enduring their whispers, their betrayals, and the relentless force of their insecurities projected onto you. They sought to drag you into their shadows, not because you belonged there, but because your light exposed the cracks in their fragile facades. The pain you carried was never yours. It was the residue of their fear, their inability to confront the brilliance that radiated from you. Yes, it hurt. It left scars, both visible and invisible, and there were moments when the burden felt unbearable. But even in those darkest hours, your light never wavered. It flickered, perhaps, but it never went out. And now, as you stand, unbroken and unyielding, you realize that their efforts to extinguish you have only fueled your growth. What they could not destroy has become stronger, brighter, and more undeniable than ever before. The truth is no longer hidden. It is alive within you, and no one can take it away. The ones you trusted most, the ones you let into the sacred spaces of your heart, were the very ones who turned against you. They smiled with false sincerity, their words veiled in kindness, while their intentions dripped with envy. They stayed close, not to lift you up, but to keep you within reach of their sabotage. They fed on your light, using it to illuminate their own emptiness, and when that wasn't enough, they sought to dim it. They planted seeds of doubt in your mind, hoping you would shrink, hoping you would silence the voice that threatened their fragile sense of self. But even in their betrayal, even when their whispers became storms in your mind, you never lost the truth of who you are. You felt their dishonesty, their schemes, like a distant echo, and though it hurt, you endured. You've always known, haven't you? Their actions were never about your worth. It was their own fear of standing in the shadow of something they could never contain. You always felt it, the way their warmth carried a chill, the way their laughter seemed hollow, echoing with something unsaid. Their words, though kind on the surface, carried an edge you could never quite ignore. The tension in their presence was undeniable, a quiet storm brewing beneath the polished facade they wore so carefully. And now, the veil has lifted. The truth, once hidden in the shadows of their false pretenses, stands exposed in the light of your clarity. Their smiles were weapons, their compliments laced with envy, their every gesture a calculated move to keep you questioning yourself. But no more. The illusion has shattered, and you see them for what they truly are: fragile souls, terrified of the brilliance you radiate, working endlessly to mask their own fears and shortcomings. Their manipulations will no longer touch you. Their schemes will no longer hold power over you. You are free now, free to rise above what they could never destroy. For so long, they operated in silence, weaving their deception like a web, hoping you would remain entangled in self-doubt. They thrived in your uncertainty, their actions calculated and deliberate, designed to keep you questioning your own strength. It was never chance that held you back, never coincidence that opportunities slipped through your fingers. It was their fear, their need to suppress what they could never match. They saw your potential, your brilliance, and it terrified them. So they plotted from the shadows, not with the power to truly stop you, but with the hope that you might stop yourself. But now you see it, their schemes, their insecurities, their desperate attempts to keep you small. And with that clarity, their power fades. What they feared most is coming to pass. You are rising, unshaken, unstoppable, untouchable. They feared you because you reflected everything they lacked: courage, brilliance, and the strength to rise above. Rather than confront their own shortcomings, they turned their energy against you, hoping to extinguish what they could never possess. They cloaked their sabotage in subtlety, their words laced with venom disguised as care, their actions carefully calculated to make you doubt yourself. But they misunderstood the depth of your resilience. They thought their quiet betrayals and whispered schemes would weaken you, but instead they sharpened you. You saw their envy, felt the weight of their insecurities pressing against you, and yet you endured. Every time they tried to tear you down, they only revealed more of their fear and more of your strength. You've always known the truth. Their efforts to hold you back were never about your inadequacy, but about their terror of watching you become everything they could never be. And now, nothing they do can stop you. And they built walls where there should have been bridges, sowed seeds of doubt where there should have been support, and turned allies into adversaries when you weren't looking. Their actions were deliberate, driven by a desperation to dim the fire they could never extinguish, your strength, your light. It was a reminder of everything they were not, everything they could never become. And so they chose the path of sabotage, hiding their insecurity behind false smiles and empty gestures. But what they didn't realize is that every obstacle they placed before you only made you stronger, every betrayal only sharpened your resolve. They thought they could break you by turning others against you, but all they did was expose their own fear. Now, as the truth emerges and their masks crumble, they will be forced to face the reflection they tried so hard to avoid, the reflection of their own inadequacy, standing in the shadow of your undeniable power. The truth they tried so desperately to bury will rise like a tide, drowning them in the reality of their own choices. The lies they spun, the harm they caused, will echo in their minds, an unrelenting reminder of the darkness they created. They will search for relief, for a way to escape the crushing guilt, and their eyes will inevitably turn to you, the one they wronged, the one they underestimated. But their redemption is not your burden to bear. The pain they feel is theirs alone, a natural consequence of the path they chose. You are not their savior, nor their confessor. Their pleas for forgiveness may come, their attempts to shift the weight of their guilt onto your shoulders may follow, but you owe them nothing. What they must face now is the reality of their own actions, while you, untethered and unshaken, continue to rise. The venom they unleashed has turned inward, corroding the very foundation of their deceit, but you are beyond its reach. You have shed the weight of their shadows, the chains of their malice, and stepped into a freedom they could never steal from you. It is not your duty to mend the emptiness within them, nor is it your role to carry the consequences of their choices. Their downfall is their own making, and as they sink into the storm they created, you rise above it, untouched and unbound. The fire within you, the brilliance they sought to extinguish, now blazes with a power they can no longer deny. Every wound they inflicted has become a scar of strength, a reminder of the resilience they could never break. You are no longer tethered to their toxicity, and as their world collapses under the weight of their actions, you ascend, lighter, stronger, shining with a light they were never meant to dim. You are no longer a vessel for their chaos, no longer a mirror for their insecurities. The weight you once carried, their pain, their frustration, their inadequacies, has slipped from your shoulders like a long-forgotten burden. You have stepped into a new era, one where their shadows cannot reach you, where their illusions hold no power. The truth has risen, clear and unshakable, like a dawn breaking after endless night. The lies they wove, the blame they cast, dissolve in the light of your clarity. You see now what you could not see before, that their struggles were never yours to bear, their wounds never yours to heal. This is your liberation, your emergence from the storm they tried to trap you in. And as you rise, untouchable and resolute, their projections fall away, leaving you standing in the fullness of your own truth, unshaken and free. This newfound clarity, a timeless and indomitable force, has become the foundation upon which you now stand. The chaos they once entangled you in has unraveled, leaving you grounded in a truth they cannot comprehend. This revelation not only frees you, but also exposes the fragility of their illusions, shaking the foundations of the world they built on deceit. For those who thrived in the shadows of ignorance, this awakening is unbearable. A light too bright, a reality too raw. They will scramble, clutching at the remnants of the control they once wielded over you, desperate to tether themselves to a power they no longer possess. But their grasp will falter, for you are untouchable now, rooted in your strength, unmoved by their desperation. Their struggles are no longer your concern, their chaos no longer your prison. You are free, rising above the wreckage of their delusions, unyielding and untamed. That power they once wielded, the parasitic force that thrived on your light, has withered into nothingness. Stripped of the energy they stole, they are left floundering in the void of their own making. The truth they evaded for so long now crashes down upon them, relentless and inescapable, unraveling their carefully constructed facades. But your path is no longer tied to their chaos. Where once their darkness sought to drown you, it now fuels the fire within, propelling you forward with unstoppable momentum. Every scar, every moment of pain has been alchemized into strength, into wisdom, into resilience. You are no longer simply surviving, you are thriving, ascending into a freedom that was always meant to be yours. Their collapse is not your concern, for you have risen, unbreakable, into the light of your own becoming. The burdens that once pressed so heavily upon you, their fears, their failures, their insecurities, have fallen away, leaving you lighter than you've ever been. What remains is a crystalline understanding. None of it was ever meant to be yours. The darkness you battled was a reflection of their own inner turmoil, cast toward you in a desperate attempt to escape themselves. But now, the fog has lifted, and you stand in the brilliance of your own truth, untouched and untainted. This is your moment of transcendence, your emergence from the shadow of their pain into the radiant light of your own freedom. The weight is gone, and in its absence, you discover the strength, the clarity, and the peace that were always waiting for you. This is your rebirth. The force that once sought to break you has instead shaped you into a force of nature. What was meant to shatter you has only sharpened your edges, reforged your spirit, and made you untouchable. They may see the calm exterior, the quiet confidence, but they cannot fathom the storms you have overcome. You have faced the flames, endured the trials, and emerged not just intact, but radiant, stronger than ever. Their energy, their chaos, their attempts to pull you back into the shadows now fall away like whispers in the wind. You are beyond their reach, beyond their control, and beyond their understanding. What they once saw as weakness has become your greatest strength, an unyielding testament to the power of your resilience. The darkness they once hurled at you, sharp and relentless, has turned inward, becoming the weight they must now bear alone. Their reckoning has arrived, and it is a storm of their own making. But you are no longer tethered to their chaos, no longer burdened by the need to shield them from the fallout of their choices. You have ascended beyond their reach, beyond their judgments, carried by the strength you built in the face of their attempts to break you. Your power is pure, unshaken, and entirely your own, no longer dependent on their approval or bound by their control. You are free, standing tall in the light of your truth, leaving their shadows far behind. Their storms rage on, wild and desperate, but you stand unmoved, a pillar of calm amidst the whirlwind. The power within you is untouchable, forged from a truth they cannot grasp and a strength they will never possess. They may try to unravel you, to drag you back into the labyrinth of their lies, but their efforts are futile. The web they once spun so carefully now ensnares only themselves, tangled in the karma they wove from their own deception. You are free, beyond their reach, beyond their understanding, beyond the limits of their control. Their chaos is no longer your concern. It dissipates before you, powerless against the unwavering force of your liberation. You are untethered, soaring higher than they could ever imagine. This awakening is your homecoming, a return to the truth of who you are, untamed and unapologetic. The power within you is no longer something they can manipulate or diminish. It answers only to your own will. They will sense the change in you, feel the walls of their influence crumble, and recoil in confusion, unable to comprehend how you slipped from their grasp. But you remain steadfast, unshaken by their bewilderment, for you have risen above their games and illusions. Their control was always an illusion, and now that you see it for what it is, there is no going back. You stand rooted in your own strength, untouchable, unstoppable, and free. The truth, once a quiet whisper beneath the noise, now roars with undeniable clarity, illuminating everything it touches. It pierces through the fog that once clouded your vision, revealing the path that was always meant to be yours. The weight of doubt, the chains of fear, and the illusion of limitation fall away like shadows chased by the morning sun. With this newfound understanding, you feel untethered, limitless, as though the very fabric of the world has shifted to align with your purpose. The truth is no longer something you fear, but something you embrace, a guiding light that empowers you to move forward with unwavering confidence. The weight of their expectations, the walls of their limitations, all dissolve like dust in the wind. You have risen beyond the boundaries they designed to contain you, no longer shrinking to fit the shape they imposed. The space around you expands endlessly now, filled with possibilities that were once hidden from view. The cage they built lies in ruins, but you do not look back. Instead, you step forward, unburdened and unrestrained, into the vast, open horizon of your potential. This power, this freedom, has always been yours. It was simply waiting for you to claim it. The atmosphere hums with possibility, alive with a force that feels both foreign and deeply familiar. The heaviness that once pressed against your spirit has vanished, replaced by a current of pure, unbridled potential. Every step you take feels lighter, as though the earth itself rises to meet you, supporting your every move. The energy coursing through you is undeniable, awakening parts of you that were long dormant. It's not just a release, it's a rebirth, a reclamation of the power that was always yours, now flowing freely and illuminating the path ahead with brilliance and purpose. The weight you carried for so long dissolves, leaving behind a lightness that feels almost surreal. It's as though your very essence has been swept clean, every corner of your soul illuminated by this powerful shift. The tides of change surge within you, washing away the residue of doubt, fear, and the constraints others tried to place upon you. In their place, there is only clarity and strength, a deep, unshakable knowing that you are free. Free to rise, to expand, to live untethered by the expectations of anyone but yourself. This is your moment, your rebirth, and you step forward with a heart unburdened and a spirit ablaze.